All right, I think I'm going to get started. I think I'm going. Hey everybody, just getting myself organized here. Sorry for the short delay. Oh my God, it's 7 after. I'm so sorry. My audio wouldn't catch when I turned on my OBS software. I think I got scared because I've been cleaning my studio and I had to unconnect everything and coil things up and make it look tidy, and I think I scared it, so I'm sorry. My audio is wavy. All right, let me see. I think I disrupted things when I was cleaning. Let me see. Does that sound better? The audio? Let me know. Audio is not clear. Let me see something here. F3. Okay, so let's see. I hope I didn't break something. Is that better? Is the audio better now? I got it by itself. Is it better? It's still not good? Trying to decide what to do. Let me see if I put on. Does it sound better now? Still weird. I'm really not sure what's happening. Let's see. I think what I'm going to do, if I go here, does it sound better at this view? No. All right, so if I shut this audio from my camera. All right, does it sound better now? I don't understand what's happening. Is there sound now that sounds better? Oh my God. Is it working now? Can you hear me now? I really hope this isn't like a big ass problem. Oh, I just swore. No sound. The sound is off again. I don't understand. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shut everything off and turn it back on. Oh, it's back on again. You can hear me now. All right. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that this is just going to work. And I really apologize for all of this. Did you hear me swear, Diane? Ugh. Oh, and speaking of Diane, I put the big reveal in the subscription box videos for the sleeve pattern hack. What happened with that was I lost all my footage at the end. For some reason, my card got corrupt, but I did post the big reveal, so that's there now for anyone who's doing my subscription box videos. Hi, ladies. Wow, I'm so excited all of you joining me. This is going to be a fun project, and I just want to show you, this was my sample, and I don't like the way it came out for a few different reasons. And the reason why I don't like it is because when I went to turn it, well, first of all, let me explain. I tried using one piece of vinyl that I folded in half, so it's got a fold here, and I did finish the top edges and put the zipper on first, and that created a tube because the sides were not sewn yet. But what happened was, between shoving it in there to sew the second side of the zipper on and sewing the sides and turning it inside out, the vinyl got all crinkly. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but I'm really not happy. See all that yucky crinkling? Really not happy with the way this came out. So we're going to do it a little bit differently in class. So let me just make my view a little bit bigger. Okay, so what we're going to do today is, wait, let me just stop. Hi, Anne. Let me just say hi to everybody. Nilgun, hello. Happy New Year. Hi, Anne, Suzanne, Mary, Janie, Mona, PG, Linda, Andrea. Welcome, everybody. Sorry about the technical difficulties. All right, so this is, like I said, my test. Don't like it. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing is you need some, let me show you the supplies. Oops. Let me just pull all this stuff over here. All right, so these are the supplies that we need. I went to Joann Fabrics and I bought this heavier home deck zipper by the yard, or they called it, you know, cut to size zipper. I like this size zipper because it has a wider tape. So that's the zipper I'm going to be using in class. Hi, Dot. Welcome. So I'm using this zipper by the yard, or the cut to size zipper. The next thing is we're going to be using cotton strips of fabric to finish the top edges, and actually I'm going to use it to finish all the edges now because I don't want to turn, oh, sorry. I don't want to turn my bag inside out because that's what made it really, made the vinyl get really worn and yucky looking before I even put anything in it. So you need strips of fabric. These are 1.5 inches wide for a 18mm bias tape maker. I'm going to show you how to use that. So I've cut my strips. I've got my bias tape maker. And then I've cut my vinyl, and I left the tissue paper in there so you could just see. Notice the size of this. Okay, I cut this to be like 16.5 by, this is going to be like probably like a 24-inch or 20-something inch long, and I'm going to have the long zipper. I'm going to have a long opening here, and the beauty of this project is you can customize the size of your project bag to fit projects you're actually working on, because I have a bunch of these project bags, and they're either all too small, too big for what I want them for. So this is going to give me the opportunity to create bags the size I need. So this particular bag, I made it longer because I'm going to be putting all of my samples when I teach my Fit Tip Tuesday, and I do pattern adjustments. I've labeled them all, and they're all nice and organized. Now I can keep them in here so they don't get damaged, and if I need to pull them out to show an example of how to do a certain adjustment, I don't have to do the adjustment all over. So that's why I came up with this idea that we're going to make these custom size project bags. And then the other thing is I'm going to use, here's a scrap of vinyl. I'm going to cut a piece of this to create a pocket on the outside. And what I can do is, especially for this particular project, I can list all the pattern adjustments on a note card and stick it in the pocket on the outside of the bag. That way I can easily see what things I have in there. So that's what I'm going to show you how to make today. And the first step actually is going to be to, let's put the vinyl away for a minute. Oh, and that's 12 millimeter heavy vinyl. You can get it heavier. And you can get it a little bit lighter. I thought the lighter one would be too flexible, so I chose 12 millimeters. But, you know, and even at Joann's, they have a variety of different, you know, a variety of different vinyls. And I just want to show you, it comes on this big roll. Okay, so it's, I think it's either, it's probably like 48 inches wide. See, so it comes on a big roll. And it has this tissue paper underneath it so you can see it. So get yourself some vinyl. Okay, and then see, PJ says, boy, are you getting organized. Well, PG, honestly, I am sick and tired of working in a mess, and I am going to force myself to be nice and neat. The only things left I have to clean are my closets. I'm going to totally gut those closets, and then I'm going to put everything back nice and neat, and a lot of things are going into these project bags. All right, so let's the first thing I think I want to show you or work on is how to use the bias tape maker. And they're very, very easy to use, and I'm just going to tighten my view here. Okay, so I have my Oliso mini project iron, which is perfect for this. And I cut a bunch of different pieces of fabric, and I'm just going to use a mix and match. So like on any given bag, I might actually be using two different ones or whatever. So let me just show you how to do this. The first thing is, if you cut the end of your fabric strip, if you cut a point like that, it makes it easy to insert the fabric. So you turn it so the color, and there's a little slit right there. You put your fabric strip into the bias tape maker, so the wrong side is face down from this view, and then I'm just using one of my stilettos to push it through using the slit. So see, that I can just pick it out like this. All right, and you want to make sure that the fabric itself is centered, you know, in this guided back end here. Okay, so you've got that centered. Let me see, Mary is saying, I semi-cleaned my sewing room and threw out a lot of scrap material. Yeah, it was a good time to do it. I think that's good. I think we should all take a minute and clean. All right, so I'm just going to put my iron here, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the iron to hold the strip, and then I can pull this a little bit and then just follow with the iron. And I'm just going to keep doing that. Okay, and so see what it does is it creates this double fold bias tape. All right, so I'm just going to go through and press this. And I think a good tip for this is you never want to get too much fabric out of the front before you have a chance to iron it, because it will start to get unfolded, and then it will, it'll start to get messed up. All right, so I'm just going to go through and just, now see what happened when I did that? See how it got all yucky? I'm going to back that back up, and I'm going to pull it out a little at a time. So don't pull it out too much, just a couple inches at a time, and just follow right close with the nose of your iron. I'm sure this is a ribboning step. These used to be, these bias tape makers come, you can buy them in sets of different widths, and I think they used to be very, very popular when I first started sewing and when I used to work at a sewing store, and I think they've kind of gotten, I don't know, at least I forgot about them, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to show how to use this, because it makes it easy to do all the steps once we make our, now I think I'll have enough of length if I just make two to make the bag. So I'm gonna, okay, so here's one. Now, if you're making this for another project, you can also fold it in half and press it again. I'm not going to do that though. I'm just going to leave it like this for what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to put this aside. Let me just see. Oh, a tidy sewing room is an impossible dream for me. That's what Nilgun says. Nilgun, if I can do it, you can do it. Honestly, I am the messiest person in this whole live stream. So if I can do it, you can do it. It just, you really have to just bite the bullet and spend a couple days. That's what happens. All right, so I have that color, and then I think I'll use, I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter. I'll use this one. So I'm just going to quickly make a second bias strip. I probably should have had one prepped before I started. Sorry. I think I was just so surprised that my first bag came out yucky. I was a little bit besides myself, and I had to come up with a new plan. So, all right, let me just, so again, to start it, just push it through like that. Make sure it's centered here. And then the bias tape maker does the work for you. Okay. We're going to be using this custom binding to finish the edges of the bag, and also to finish the ends of the zipper. You know, I think I'm going to need 3 now that I'm looking at this, because it's pretty wide. So let me just quickly stop talking and just make a second one here. Milgun says, I like making bias tape when I have free time. I make bias tape from leftover fabrics and I like using them. Spray starch either before or after the strip. Yep, spray starch is a good idea, Mary. And actually, I have it right here. So like if you just give it a little spray, that will actually help control it. See, I don't have to think of everything because I have you guys. Okay. All right, let me just quickly do one more. And I think for this one, this third one, let me just, let me just spray it first. So let me just, let's see if it makes a big difference. All right, let's see. All right, I'll just use my scissors. I switched off of my big shears to cut this end because I don't want it to get damp. All right, so again, let me just get this little point in there. Get it in. All right, so this is going to be the starch one, and let's see it probably will behave much nicer. All right. Oh, and then I don't have to worry about squirting it with steam either. Okay. These are all strips of fabric I have from my mom's stash. So I kind of feel like she would want me to be organized, so she will be happy with this project too. All right, let's see. All right, we're almost done with this part of the project. Maybe if I talk in a very soothing, quiet voice, this could be something you could watch while you're trying to fall asleep. And you can listen to me talk about pressing all of these bias strips. That's how exciting I feel like this is. All right. Okay. We have our strips. Now we're ready to go to the next step. So I'm going to just put all these other things away, and I'll slide my iron back over here for now. I think that's really like the last time I'm going to use the iron. All right, so let's see. Oh, Mary wants to know how my mom's doing. My mom has Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and you know, she's okay. You know, she's having trouble. She doesn't remember how many kids I have, or my sister, and she knows I'm Jennifer, but then she asks me where my mother is, so it's hard, but I do go down every Tuesday and Thursday to help out and visit and give my dad a break. So they both have amazing attitudes about it, so you know, for now it's okay. We're just taking it day by day. So that's how that's going. All right, so our next step is I'm going to pull this back into view. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut myself a piece of this extra, and I'm going to make it a fairly good size pocket. A standard size piece of paper is 8.5 by 11. So I am going to make this 9 inches long, so I can fold a half piece of paper and stick it in there. Oh, Mary says she received her pattern. Thank you. Mary made 19 or 20 hats for Warm Hats for All. So I think we should give Mary a round of applause. And anyone else who's watching, if you sent me hats, I just want to say that my sister-in-law is so grateful that she has hats to give to people. It's been very cold in Connecticut now, so we probably have gotten over 75 hats now. So it's been very exciting opening the mailbox lately. All right, so I'm gonna just cut this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. I'm gonna cut this 9 inches because I just want to make sure if I want to use like a standard size piece of paper, I have room. Okay, so see, I know it's hard to see, but this is like this is gonna be my pocket. And what I'm gonna do first is I'm going to get my, here's my bag. Let me make my view a little bit bigger for a second. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do, PG, I did get your hats, and I actually opened your box during a video. You had the hockey fabric. They were very, very cool. Did I send you a coupon code? I'm sending $10 coupon codes to everybody who does hats. If I did not send you a coupon code, please remind me. But yes, I did. Those were very cool. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this pocket kind of in the lower, maybe the lower right-hand corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure I'm not even gonna measure. I'm just gonna, I have one of these, I got one of these clips. These are my daughter's hair clips. Okay. And I'm just gonna use that to kind of hold it there. Will it stay? No. Yeah, that's not working the way I thought. Never mind, we're not using that. The problem with working with vinyl is if you pin it, you have a hole. And I don't want to pin it. So PJ said, okay, just wanted to know if you received them. Yes, but did I send you a coupon code? I can't remember. Let me know, and I'll send you one if I didn't. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to get rid of one layer. And I have this layer right here. And I think what I'm going to do, because I cannot, I can't pin it, I think I'm going to Scotch tape it. So I'm using the lines on my board here. So I'm going to put this pocket, let's put it 2 inches from the side and 2 inches from the bottom, like that. And again, I'm using the grid on my board to make sure that's straight and that the pocket is also straight. So just to hold it in place, I'm just going to Scotch tape it at the top. And I think that's really the only place I need to Scotch tape it. Okay, so a piece of Scotch tape will hold the layers of your vinyl together. Hi Isha, welcome, Happy New Year. All right, so now that I've Scotch taped my pocket, I'm gonna grab my sewing machine. Oh, one other thing. Here are 2 very good tools if you need to square up and cut your vinyl. I used this big 15.5-inch quilting square, but you can also use this is also another kind of square ruler that will help you get square rulers. Square shapes. Linda says binder clips would work instead of pins. Yes, we're going to be using binding clips on the edges, but that pocket is too far away from the edge to use a binding clip. All right. So here's my sewing machine. So I'm getting a new cabinet, like a big quilter's dream cabinet, and my ultimate dream for organizing my studio is to be able to have all my sewing machines on a work surface where I don't have to keep switching them out when I'm doing video. Are you going to bind the top edge of the pocket? You know, PG, that's a really good idea. I wasn't gonna. But now that you mention that, let me just see something here. Hold on. I just want to see how long. I'm just going to measure the length of this because I'm going to need one for this bottom edge. All right, and then I'm also realizing I'm going to need a second one of these. All right, you know what? Let's do that. Because I think that's a good idea. PG gets a gold star for coming up with that idea. All right, so that would make the pocket more visible and easier to get into. Yes, PG gets a gold star. So let me take my tape off. All right. And this will show the technique for how we're going to be using some of this bias tape. All right. Okay, so how we are going to work with this is, if I thought I was going to have trouble with the vinyl against my machine, but it slides perfectly, so I don't have an issue. But if you do have an issue, save the tissue paper that comes with your vinyl and use it between the feed dogs and the vinyl. Okay, so if it sticks, just stick a piece of this or strips of this underneath so it doesn't stick to your machine. So the first thing we're going to do to put to bind the edge of the top of the pocket is I'm going to line up the fabric strip with the edge, the top edge of the vinyl, like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew right on that fold that was made by the bias tape maker. And that's why it really is nice to use the bias tape maker, because it gives you a guide to sew along to. So I'm just going to sew. And I'm just keeping the edge of my fabric even with the top edge of the pocket. Ooh, this is going to be nicer than I thought. Thank you, PG. All right, let's see. All right, so when I get to the other side, I'm just going to cut that. Okay, and then I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to cut that. And then, you know what, I wasn't thinking in terms of, well, I guess, all right, so the next step is, let's fold, I'm going to fold the end under, and I'm just going to baste it like this, just to make it simple, just to wrap it around the top edge like this. And I'm just going to tack it with a few stitches to keep it. All right, and I'm going to do that to the other side, but I'm going to trim that a little bit narrower. Just because now we're making a fancy pocket, so I want to make it nice. Okay, so again, I'm just going to tack this end. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold it over, and we are going to top stitch it in place. And I think this is where I don't want to use an iron for this, because I don't want to melt my vinyl. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some Wonder Clips to hold it down like this. Okay, so I'm sort of just finger pressing. Do you use a longer stitch for vinyl? Yeah, my stitch length is about a 3. That was a good question. Okay. All right, so I have folded this down in place, and it's even with where I sewed it from the other side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to top stitch it in place. Just going to use this to keep it from sliding around. This fabric is not cut on the bias. This is on the straight of grain. I'm just pulling it so it's even with the other side. So I'm just pulling it. So I don't want to iron it. Okay. Oops. Oh, and then I'm just going to tuck this end back under there. Let me just clip this. All right. Excellent. All right, so now I have a very nice finished edge. You know, and both sides look equally nice. So that's excellent. Now I'm gonna come back over to my bag piece, and I'm gonna do what I did before. I'm just gonna use the lines on my board so I can get it straight. And I'm gonna keep with that 2 inches, I think. Let's see. And I'm still gonna use Scotch tape. Yeah, I think I like this better. All right. Oops. Okay. All right, so I've got that lined up, and I'm just going to do some Scotch tape to hold it. I'm just going to put it along the top so I don't have to worry about sewing through the Scotch tape and then having to remove it again, or, you know, pick it out of the stitching. So let me just get this back over here. All right, so now I'm going to just take my, I'm just going to sew my pocket on. And I'm sewing about, I'm going to say like about a 1/16 of an inch away. We'll go across the bottom. What is that? I have like an extra string. Alright, sorry about that. Alright. It's messing with my, this extra string was messing. Alright. Alright, and then we're just gonna, I'm gonna roll up this side so it doesn't get crinkled when I rotate and do this side here. I'm just gonna get rid of this Scotch tape. All right, PG definitely gets a gold star. That was an excellent idea. All right, let's look at our pocket. I think that's lovely. Okay, so now I can put notes about what I have in here in this pocket. All right, so that's the first step if you want to add a pocket. So now the next step is we are going to prep our zipper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my zipper over here. So the way this comes is all the pulls are on one end, and there are way more pulls on here than I would ever use. But I'm just going to take one of the pulls, and I'm gonna, you know, actually, because it's such a wide opening, maybe what I'll do is I'll do 2 pulls, and it can zip both ways. It can zip from both ends. Let's try that, right? Because that'll work. It'll be a fancy 2-pull zipper. Now, the thing is, I want my zipper to be shorter than the width of my vinyl because we need to allow for seam allowances. And I also want to finish the edges. I'm not going to catch the zipper into the finished side edges of the bag. So I'm going to make my zipper approximately 1.5 inches shorter. So I'm just going to mark here. I'm just going to eyeball it. That's where my vinyl ends. I'm just going to cut it like right here. So it's a little bit shorter. All right, so I'm just going to cut this. I'm just going to use my rotary cutter. This blade needs to be replaced, so I won't traumatize it by I mean, I won't traumatize it any more than it is. All right, so here's my zipper, okay? And before we do anything else, we are going to use some of this fabric to finish the edge. And for this one, I am just going to fold a piece. I mean, I only need, say, like, I don't even need that much. I only need maybe a piece about this long. Okay, this little piece. I'm going to fold this in half because we're going to wrap it around the edge of the zipper and just top stitch it in place. And I think I can do that in one step instead of sewing it and then top stitching it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our back to the machine. I'm going to take my bias tape here and I am going to, I just need this is a 1 wonder clip job. It's going to hold the end. Okay, and I'm just going to, you know, top stitch it on with it, you know, firmly wrapped around the end of that zipper. And it's really a good idea to do this as soon as you cut your zipper, because what can happen, you can unzip the zipper pull right off the zipper if you start playing with it. So I like to just get these caps right on. Okay, so there's one end. See how pretty that is? And then scissors. All right, and so then to finish the other side, I'm just going to put my leftover scrap. I'm just going to pin it on to hold it. Okay, and then I'm going to just sew this one on. All right, you want to check the back and make sure you caught it front and back, but see, that was fairly easy to do, so that's all done. Linda wants to know what size needle do I recommend. I have a size 14 in there right now. I mean, use a 14 is going to make a good size hole. You don't want to use anything bigger than that. You probably could use a size 12 too, because remember, when you sew your vinyl, it's popping a hole right in the, you know, right into the vinyl. Okay, so I'm going to just trim these. All right, so now my zipper is ready to go, and it's nice and safe because I've got it capped on both ends, but I can unzip from both directions now. That's very good. All right, so my next step is I am going to take my front back that okay, this is going to be my front because there's my pocket. The next step is I'm basically going to finish the top edges of this, but I'm not going to top stitch it in place. So let me just pick one of these colors, and I'm just going to get it started, I'm just going to, you know, just use one of my Wonder Clips, and I'm just going to stitch right along my folded, you know, my folded guideline here. Okay, see what I'm doing? All right, so I am just going to stitch. You know, and the thing is, you know, a lot of projects in sewing, you do not save money. But I will tell you that these project bags, you know, to get them the size you want and have them nicely finished, if you were to purchase a comparable one, it would cost more than the supplies. So you are actually saving money and you're making custom sizes. Alright, so there is the top edge is finished. I'm not going to sew it down yet because I'm going to do that at the same time that I sew the zipper. So I'll show you what I'm going to be doing with that in a minute. But let me get my second piece of vinyl here. And I'll just pick us another piece of this. Each edge is going to have its own, you know, different print here. So let me just get this lined up. I know it's hard to see the vinyl on the video, I'm sorry, but just take my word for it that I'm lining up the edge of the fabric with the edge of the vinyl. And I'm just sewing along. Okay, so now the next step is I'm just going to cut this, where's my scissors? Just going to cut the tails off the edges here. Okay, so our next step is I'm going to get my zipper and I'm going to center it on my bag here. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I position it an equal distance from the ends on both, so, you know, both sides of the bag. So I'm just lining it up here, and there's probably about 5/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to mark it with my chalk. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around, and it's not going to reach all the way, around. If I wanted to play with it and get it to reach, I could, because I used a generous, a generous seam allowance. I should at least complete my sentences. All right, so I'm just going to just curl it around and wrap it so it's, you know, fairly on there. So see what I'm doing? I'm just wrapping it around. And we're going to be double stitching the zipper so it will catch all the edges here. And these are not getting washed, so I'm not concerned with leaving, you know, like raw edges on the ends, because it's never going to get washed. All right, so I'm going to just do maybe one more right here. right, so what I'm going to do, now that I have it wrapped around, is I'm going to bring my sewing machine back. And another benefit of using the wider tape is that the I don't need to use a zipper foot because the twill tape is so wide that it fits on here without needing to worry about it. So the first thing is I'm going to line up the end of my zipper with the let me see if I can just pin it right here on the other side. I don't know if that's far enough away. Oh, that's probably where the needle's going to go. So I'm lining up the end of my zipper with where I marked it with chalk. And then I'm just going to stick it under there. And actually, I think just for ease, I'm going to use one reel pin because I want to start at the very end of the bias tape. So I'm lining up the end of my zipper here with the mark I made to where I want to sew it, and then I'm lining up the end of the zipper. So the zipper tape, it's just so you can see it peeking out here. I'm lining it up with the bottom edge of the binding there. So I'm going to start at the top because that's where it's wrapped around and it's really not pressed. And I'm just going to start sewing at the end. I'm going to sew right onto the zipper. Okay, now I can get rid of that one pin. And I'm just going to keep that even. And I'm just going to sew right along the edge. All right, so I'm catching it all in one step. I mean, if you wanted to sew this down the first time, you know, sew the binding completely secure to the edge, you could. But this way I will only have 2 rows of stitching. And I don't, okay, so now I have my zipper things here. I'm going to pull those to the back so they're out of the way. Okay, almost done. And good news, my zipper is ending where the other mark is on my fabric, which is good. All right, so then I'm just going to bring it back, and I'm just going to sew just to make it look nice. This is purely for aesthetics. I'm just gonna sew along the other fold. Just keep moving these along here. Now you do have to take your time on this step because if you slide off the bottom edge onto your plastic, you'll have holes there. So be careful. Excellent. All right, so now we have one side of our zipper is sewn on, okay? And what I'm going to do to make this easy to work with is I am going to roll this up into a tube, and I'm just going to hit it with one piece of Scotch tape here. I just want to hold that like that. Okay, that way when I go to do the other side, it'll fit in the machine without getting wrinkled. So let's get our second piece here. And let me just trim this. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I want to line this up so that, oh wait, let's first just wrap this around to the back side. Okay, so basically I'm doing exactly what I did on the other side. I'm just wrapping it. Wrapping it around. Again, I'm not concerned if it matches, you know, if it folds all the way around to be even with the front, because it's not going to show because it's sandwiched between the zipper and the, you know, well, it's sandwiched between the bag and the zipper. So I can just firmly wrap it around. I really am in love with my Wonder Clips. I love them. I don't know what I did without them all this time. All right, so I've got that clipped. Now I'm going to bring this together with this. Okay, so you can see I want to make sure that it's matching. The ends of my bag are matching, so I'm just going to clip this even, and I'm going to clip this even so I can see that I'm evenly sewing these on evenly. And again, I think I'm going to use one pin to get it started, just to hold it for me. Okay, so you can see that that's even. You want the front and back of the bag to be even on the zipper. Okay, and now you can see why I wanted to roll up. And actually, I think what I'm going to do, just so I don't have to fight with it, is I'm going to roll this side up too. Nilgun says, I have vinyl table cover which I don't use. Maybe I could use it to make bags. I think that's an excellent idea. I always laugh when I watch a movie where, you know, one of the characters has a couch or a sofa and it's covered with vinyl covers to keep it nice. It's like, I mean, I get why they're doing that, but how could that possibly be comfortable to sit on this vinyl? All right, so I've got it lined up like this, so both of them are rolled up. The only problem now is I can't reach, so I'm going to come in on an angle here, and I'm just going to, I'm sort of sitting to the right of this project so I could reach. So again, I'm starting on the end. I can get rid of that one pin. All right. I want to keep this here to keep a handle on it. Okay, and I'm not going to get myself too concerned about exactly how close the teeth are to these fabric. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, let me just get this better so you can see. You know, because it's just a vinyl bag, so like I'm not worrying if the zipper's not completely centered. I just want to make sure I catch all the layers. I think if I wasn't trying to show you guys, I could sew this part a little neater. It's a little awkward with the camera and the angles. Oops. All right. Okay. Oh, I'm excited. I think this is coming out pretty. Oh, and here are those pulls. Again, I'm just going to move them out of the way because I don't want to push my presser foot. All right, let's just finish this step up. You could use Wonder Tape in there too to help hold all the layers together. That's another thing you could do. Okay. Excellent. And again, I'm just gonna zip onto the other side just to make it uniform. This is very crooked. That's what I'm doing. All right. All right. Yay. Let's look and see what we have. All right, so now what I'm going to do okay, so I can zip these. Oh, I'm not really sure 2 zippers is really going to make a big whoop-de-doo here. All right, I'm going to untape my sides so I can open them up. And okay. All right, so now the next step is going to be to fold this in half. Okay, so here we have our bag. It's folded in half, and I'm just going to use some Wonder Clips to pin all the edges together. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew both the sides first, and then I'm going to sew the bottom edge because I think it's looking like I might have to trim one of my edges. So I'm just going to pin my sides together. Oh, wait a minute. All right. Did I screw? Oh no, I thought I screwed that up. No, I didn't. I thought I was putting the pocket on the inside. That would have not been super useful. All right, so I've got those pinned together. And these pinned together. All right, so we're just gonna, basically this step is just to baste around because we're gonna finish all the edges with the fabric strips. Because I do not want to have to turn this inside out, because that's where it got yucky, was when I tried to turn it inside out. Oh, so what I can clearly see, it's not going to matter here that I'm cutting these even, because we're going to cover them with a strip of fabric. So I'm just going to trim all my tails. And I'm just going to start at the very top here, making sure these top edges are aligned. And I'm just going to sew probably about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, all the way down. And then I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll go across the bottom. So again, I'm just going to trim this. Like this. So I think if you wanted to make some of these for your sewing studio, I would do them in a production style where you do all of the same step for every bag you're going to make, and I think that that will make it go faster. Okay. All right, now that I've gone, oops, just my, okay. Now that I've gone across both sides, I'm just going to go across the bottom. Oops. All right, so you know, I'm looking at this, and if you're just making these and you want to make them fast, you could call it a day right here, actually, because it really does not look terrible that the, you know, it really doesn't look bad, the stitching on the right side. I mean, you can't even really see it. Let me see if I can find a thing. Oh, here. Let me see if I put some gray fabric here. Let me just see if you can see better. Yeah, see how the white stitching right here? I mean, that really doesn't look bad. If you wanted to just leave it like that, you totally could. But I'm going to finish the edges with the fabric, and I think I'm going to do it in the same order that I did you know, constructed it. I'm going to do the sides first, and then I'm going to do the bottom. But I think I ran out of bobbin thread because it's come unsewn. So let me just check that. I believe I ran out of bobbin. Oh, I did. All right, let me just wind a bobbin. I'm sorry. Does anybody have any questions about doing this project so far? I mean, we're almost done. But if anyone has any questions, I can answer questions while I'm winding a bobbin. I always say to myself, why don't you wind an extra bobbin before you go live? That way, if you run out of thread, you won't have to stop. Do I do it? No. Okay. Almost done. let me just pop this bobbin back in there. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Just this. Okay. All right. So now that I'm reloaded with a full bobbin, I'm not going to bother sewing this little bit here that came unthreaded, like from here to here I ran out of bobbin thread. It's not going to go anywhere, so I'm just going to leave it. All right, so to finish up today's live stream, I don't need to bore you with how to finish all of the edges because they're all going to be the same. Hi Lana, how are you? I'm using a size 14 just universal needle for this. Nothing fancy. You probably could use a size 12 too. You don't want to use a 16 though because that would make a huge hole. And I'm using about a 3mm stitch length. Okay, so it's essentially almost done. I do want to finish the side and bottom edges with this tape, and I think what I'm going to do is, just to make the top ends look nice, I'm going to sew it on exactly the way I finished the pocket, okay, just right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, what is this tape? Oh, I have a piece of tape stuck on the inside here. Let me just get rid of that. It's annoying me. All right, so what I'm going to do for, uh-oh. My sewing machine became a mess. What happened? I think I pulled it with my bag. Oh God. Just made a total mess of my machine. Hold on. All right, so that's good. All right, sorry about that. All right, so this can go back there. Go back, go back. All right, let me just thread this needle one more time. All right. I said earlier I didn't care about raw edges because, you know, no, this isn't going to get washed. But what I do want to do is make the top end look nice. So I'm going to take my top end of my fabric strip, and we're going to sew it on like this onto the edge. But before I do that, I'm going to fold the top edge down so when we flip it around, the top edge will be finished. So I'm just going to quickly press that top edge under, you know, 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch here. Okay. Oh, actually, I got to do this other end. Sorry. It's going to go like this. Oh no, this works. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let me just get my machine so you can see. I'm going to move it over this way a little bit. Let me just fix my... All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to take the finished edge, the folded edge, it's folded down like this. And I'm just going to line the folded end up with the very top. So it looks like this. And I'll just put a clip here so I can show you. So see, I've lined up the folded end with the finished top edge of the bag, and the let me just move this out of the way. So I'm going to start sewing that. Now for this part, I do want to be able to wrap it around so it looks neat front to back. So I want to make sure that I use a scant 1/4 inch, or I want to sew just inside the fold line so I have enough fabric to fold it around to the back side of the seam. Hi, Jane Anderson. All right, I have to call Jane Anderson out for a second. She sent me hats, 10 of them, from New Zealand. Seriously, from New Zealand. I was like flabbergasted. Jane, thank you so much for spending the money to send your hats all the way from New Zealand. We really appreciated it. My sister-in-law was like, oh my goodness, we've gone international. She was like so excited. So thank you for joining, and thank you for the hats, and thank you for mailing them from all the way from New Zealand. All right, so I'm going to sew this now. Now remember, I'm sewing, instead of lining up along the fold, I'm sewing just inside the fold, because I want to have room for it to wrap around. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing that I did at the top. I'm going to do it at the bottom. I'm going to cut my strip. Oh, actually on the bottom I don't have to, because it's going to be overlapped with another strip of fabric. So I'm cutting this bottom edge even with the bottom edge of the bag. Mary's making sure Jane got her coupon code. I did send Jane a coupon code. I just can't remember if I sent one to PG, and I don't think PG ever answered me about that. So all of you keep me posted if you need a coupon code, because I want to thank you for all of your efforts. All right, so now what I'm going to do here is I am going to fold this right around to the wrong side. And I'm going to clip it with my Wonder Clips. And because I went just inside the fold, I should have enough fabric to cover the seam on the wrong side. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna do this. All right, so after I show you this step, really this step is just repeated 2 more times. So I will finish it on camera, but if you want to leave, I understand, because I mean, this must be getting a little, I don't know, boring. I mean, I don't want you to feel like you have to watch me till the end, because I'm repeating steps here. Once I get this one done, the last 3 steps are the same. All right, so here is my nicely pinned finished edge. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sew it on. I'm just going to top stitch it on. Let me get my thing here. Okay, so I'm gonna sew probably, I want to say like a 1/16 of an inch away from the finished edge, because I want to make sure I catch it on the wrong side. All right, let's see if I caught it. I did, except I missed it right here. That's what I was afraid of. So I am going to just sew in a little bit deeper right there just to catch it. Again, keeping in mind that this is just a bag to put my stuff in. I'm not going to be like super mental case that it's all perfect. Oh. And this white thread is virtually, I mean, if I look really close, I can see the white thread, but really it blends in nicely. This is a perfect choice of fabric because the print hides all of my yucky sewing. So, all right, so you can see from this corner, we have the zippered opening is finished. We have this side is finished. So I'm just gonna sew, I wonder if I have enough here. Of course not. All right, so if I use this one for here, do I have enough to do this one here? Oh, I think I do. Let me see. So if I do that, I think I'm just like a 1/2 inch too short. So I'm going to have to finish the other side, and then I'm going to have to make another strip to finish the bottom. So maybe if anyone came in late and they missed the start of this, I can show you how to use the bias maker again. But again, I'm just going to press this top edge down. Just a little bit here. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to line the top of this up with the top edge of the bag. And remember, I'm going to sew it a little bit inside the fold. And then I'm just going to line up the edge with the edge of the bag. All right, and again, I'm just going to cut this even with the bottom of the bag. Then I'm going to pin this over. And I'm just going to clip, this is sticking out, so I'm just going to clip that at a 45 degree right there. That way that won't stick out when I fold it. And one of my, during one of my Fab Fit Fridays, when I first started using these Wonder Clips, Diane had pointed out to me that the white clear side of the plastic goes against the machine to make it easier to slide them off, and that really does make a difference. So the colored shaped side is the top of the clip, and then the clear side is the bottom part of the clip. All right, let's get this sewn on. This is so exciting. We're almost done. So again, I'm just going to stitch about 1/16 of an inch away. But the way this one folded in the bias tape maker, I can almost see the folded edge from underneath. So I know I'm going to catch it this time. Look at this, is super exciting. I have two sides done. There's one side, there's the other side. All right, so now all we have left to do is the bottom. And actually, you know what I can do? See, it's just long enough. I just don't have enough to turn the edges under. So my choices are, I think what I'll do is I'll just show the bias tape maker again. I'm going to use the exact same method to finish the bottom of this. So if you are good and you know how to make these, you can sign off and it will not hurt my feelings. But if you missed the beginning, I'll show you how to use the bias tape maker one more time, because I'm just going to make one more strip here. All right, so let me see. Let me just go get a, I think this one will go nicely with all of our other florals. Mary suggested using spray starch, so I'm going to just go ahead and give this some spray starch. I think it did make it behave a little bit better. Okay, so there's my spray starch. Then I'm going to cut myself a diagonal or some sort of point, and the reason why you want to do that is because it makes it easier to get it in there. Let me just see. Let me just see here. My eyes are having trouble. Aisha says this bag is a good idea to put bolts of interfacing. Yes, see, that is a great idea. You could make a bolt size project bag to protect bolts of fabric. That's an excellent idea. And then Andrew says, Jen, below there's a link to join the, oh, okay, so my Facebook group is still hacked. They deleted it, and I was going to start another Facebook group, but to be honest with you, I don't trust Facebook. And I'm afraid if I spend the time and energy to start another group on Facebook, that if something happens again, that work is going to just be, you know, lost again. So I think I'm going to take that link off of my videos. I'm sorry. We can meet here. And also, if you're on Instagram, that's where I post all my pictures and behind the scenes like I did in my Facebook group. If Facebook does not fix my account, I'm not gonna start another one. That's what I've decided. I did start a page called Ty Bowie Hack J Stern Designs, because those are the hackers that have my page. And I went on there and I said, this is my page. So they changed J Stern Designs, the name of the page, just to Designs, or they just left one word of it. So it's annoying. So I'm sorry. It blows my mind that Facebook has not restored my account yet. I'll be honest. That blows my mind. All right. So if you missed the beginning when I showed how to use a bias tape maker, just to review, This is a 1.5 inch strip of fabric for an 18mm bias tape maker, and you stick it in the back end. Okay, make sure it's centered in there. And then what you do is, from the front, you use your iron to almost, your iron is really your third hand, so to speak. What you're going to do is you're going to use the iron, the weight of the iron, to hold down the tape as it goes through. Okay, and then you just want to advance it a little bit at a time and press it nicely, and just make sure it's feeding evenly so those folds are even. If you take your time with this step, it's easier then to use those folds as guides to sew it on the edge. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish this up. And then we'll just finish the bottom, and then my first bag will be finished. Kind of excited. I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at different things I have, and I'm just going to create a list of different size bags I need. That says just switch to MeWe. It's really picking up, and there's some nice groups there. MeWe? I have never heard of that one. I mean, I can check it out. I am floored. I am absolutely floored that Facebook did not restore my account. And my social media manager got her account back. Her account was hacked because she was trying to help me. And Facebook got her account back like a month, maybe a month and a half ago. So, I don't know. All right. Okay, so here is my lovely custom bias tape. I'm glad I didn't unplug my iron, but I am going to unplug it now because I am definitely all done. Oh no, I'm not. I still need it for one more step. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my bag back over here. And what I want to do is I just want to mark. So on this end, I'm gonna, actually, let me just cut off this selvage, and we're gonna sew it on like this. So I'm just gonna fold one edge under to start. Okay, we'll start over here, and then I'm just lining it up with this corner over here. See, so it's gonna be right there like that. Finished, and then I'm just going to bring it over here. I just want to cut it to the length we need with that little extra. Okay, and then I'm just going to open this up, and I'm going to press this down too. That's why I want to make sure it's even. All right, so I'm just going to press this side down. All right, now I can unplug my iron. That's the one thing about the mini project iron. It doesn't have auto shut off like the big iron, so you have to remember to shut it off. So I'm putting her away for now. Okay, that'll give me more room. All right, so now I'm going to bring my machine back over here. I'm going to put it way over here this time because I'm going to need room. All right, let me just... Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do to make it easy is I'm just going to roll this into a little bit of a ball here, just a little bit, so I can get under here. And I'll just use a piece of tape just to keep it from unrolling. All right, so I am going to line up my folded edge with, oops, wrong edge, my folded edge with the edge of my bag like this, okay, and I think I'm just going to use a single pin just to hold it so it keeps everything nice for me. All right, and then I'm just gonna get that in there. And again, we're gonna sew just inside or just on the outside edge of the fold. Okay. And I'm keeping the edge of my fabric even with the bottom edge of the bag. I'm coming to the other side. And yay, my folded edge is lining up. That's good. Get a little bit deeper. Excellent. All right, so the last two steps are, we're going to just fold it under. I'm going to give this a little haircut right here. And all right, so I'm just going to fold this around to the back. And again, I'm just going to use my Wonder Clips. One here, maybe one more. Let's see. Jane says, yes, I did get coupon, thank you. Having trouble deciding what to use it on, so many good options. Mary said, I already have the neckline class by Jen on Pattern View, so this time I got the t-shirt to go with it. Yay. Jane says, I got the t-shirt, so I was thinking of the neckline expansion. And Mary said, I just love having a basic top and just changing neckline and sleeves. Oh, you found an Elness serger at a thrift store. That's an amazing find at a thrift store, Jane. Congratulations. Dot came up with another really good idea. This bag would be waterproof, good for a diaper bag. Yes, it's not exactly waterproof because the top is a little bit open, but certainly for damp stuff that's not dripping soaking wet, this would be excellent for a diaper bag. And it's pretty. Like, don't you think that's pretty? All right, so now we're just going to sew this last part. Mary, just as I'm thinking that you have your t-shirt now, it's important to sew it and fit it before you start making different necklines, because if there's a fitting If the neckline doesn't fit right, and then you make new necklines, then you're just transferring that fitting issue to your new neckline. So make sure you make a test t-shirt first, or make a t-shirt just to make sure it, you like the way it fits before you start making necklines. All right, this is exciting. This is the last step. And again, I am just going to stitch about a 1/16 of an inch away. All right, this is super exciting. Let's look at my second project bag. But I'm really happy with this, I can tell already. All right. All right, let me just make it big so you can see. All right, so here is my completed bag, and I'll just use one of my little thank you notes here to show you. See, the pocket I can put stuff in my pocket so I can tell what's in there. And like I said, this particular bag I'm going to be using for all of when I teach my Fit Tip Tuesday videos and I show how to adjust a pattern. I want to catalog those and save those. So I'm going to put all of those in here so they can lay flat and they don't have to be folded. And then I'm going to make a list of the adjustments I have in here on a note in this pocket. So that's why I wanted a pocket. Certainly the pocket is optional. And if you missed my first version, this is the one I thought I was going to show you how to make. And it totally works. It's just the vinyl got all creased and crimped and marred up because when I sewed the sides and then I turned it to the right side after I finished the zipper, and the vinyl just got all gross. So if you want to make a vinyl bag, sew it around the edges and turn it to the right side so you don't have to fuss with making with having all of this binding. You certainly could do that. It works, it's just the vinyl gets yucky, a little bit yucky. So, oh, and the other thing is I made a little, I took a little piece, a 1/2 inch strip of the fabric, and I threaded it through the pool to make an extra, way to grab the zipper. Okay, so you can add that to your zippers. But so technically I have 2 bags. So I will be making more as I identify what I need them for. But I'm really excited. I bought my vinyl at Joann Fabrics and I used a coupon, so my $29 worth of vinyl was only $15. And I'll tell you, a bag of this size, I don't know if it'll cost $15, but it would be pretty close. So you can probably make a bunch of bags for the cost of, a couple bags by the time you add up the other supplies. So anyway, this is, in my continuing effort to make a neat and tidy studio. My studio's never been this neat, and I'm going to continue to clean it so it's even going to get neater. Like I said, I have closets to do still. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project. If anybody has any questions about, doing these projects, or if you have any questions about anything else, you can post them below and I'll help you. And just remember, I am on Instagram, and you can message me on Instagram, kind of like the Facebook Messenger. Instagram has a messenger feature as well. Or you can email me. My email is under all of the videos. So I'm sorry I don't have the Facebook group right now. I'm still clinging to hope that they'll restore my account. We'll see. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope your new year is starting off nicely. I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you again next weekend, next Friday for another Fab Fit Friday. This weekend, if anybody's taking my, I'm teaching a serger techniques for garment sewers this weekend for Stitches at Home, and I'm really excited because I always have a great time with my Stitches students. So I'm doing that. And then just to let you know other things, in February my schedule is completely booked. I'm teaching jean fitting for Master the Art of Sewing on Wednesday nights, so Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 to 8 o'clock at night for 4 weeks, and then I'm doing jean construction for another 4 weeks in March. And I'm also teaching my first class ever for Sew Expo, that's usually in Puyallup. I'm teaching my Easy Fit and Sew Yoga Pants class. So I don't know if registration is quite open for that yet, but I'm excited to be teaching my first Puyallup Sew Expo class too. I think that's the 24th of February. So February is going to be an exciting month for me because I have a lot of stuff to teach, and that's my favorite. So let me see. You're welcome, No Gun. Those are pretty flowers. Mary says, sometimes I use clear on one side and fabric on the other. Oh, to make a bag? That's a good idea. That's a really good idea, because you really only need to see what's in there, maybe from one side. That's a good idea. Excellent. All right, well, I think I'm going to sign off for today. I hope you guys have a great weekend. If you're watching this later and you're in one of my Stitches classes, I will see you tomorrow and Sunday. And I hope you guys have a great weekend otherwise, and I will see you again next week. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Get yourself organized.